Welcome to The Wounded Healer with Carrie Ann. I am Carrie Ann, your host, and I'm here today to speak with Janice Tverberg, the Quiet Healer, about the ancient Japanese art of Reiki healing and how that could help you out with your mental health. So, without further ado, I think I'm going to bring Janice on so she can tell us exactly what Reiki is and how we can benefit from it in our daily lives. Hey,
Hi,
Janice, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, very well, thanks. Good to see you.
Oh,
And so I know, before I get started, I think I just want to let our audience know that you do, in fact, practice Reiki. Janice is a Reiki master teacher.
correct.
You're also the host of Unique Peace, which is broadcasting right now on Apple and Spotify, and owner of The Quiet Healer. And our audience can find Janice at The Quiet Healer at thequiethealer.com. Sorry. And so that'll be, I'll put the banner up in a couple minutes and people will be able to see exactly where it is that they can contact you. But I know also you're working out of the Emerald Door in Huntington right now. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
That's your healing space.
That is my healing space. Correct. Yes.
All right. So I think to start off, maybe tell us for those who don't know, what is Reiki?
Reiki is a system. It's an ancient Japanese deep healing and relaxation technique aligning the three diamonds, the mind, body, and soul. And it gets you into a deep state of relaxation so that your body can heal itself. So whatever you need is what you receive and what it is what's channeling through. So if I tell my clients, if nothing else, you get a nice nap and I do all the work. However, it is a very personal journey. So whatever comes through at that time during our session, whether it's in person or distance, is what you need. Some people are like, I didn't feel anything. I didn't, I didn't get anything from it. And then like 2 hours later, oh, I just thought about this, or hey, this just came up. And it's like sometimes I'll get that after a mediumship reading as well, but it's really like I don't know how to heal myself. I don't know how to what it's like all of a sudden you get the say you have diabetes and you're like, I don't know what to do. This isn't working for me. I don't want to be on insulin. And you're just have the random thought 2 hours after Reiki session, maybe I need a new endocrinologist. Maybe I need to change my diet. Things you know, but you really haven't taken the steps towards. Or you come into me and you're really anxious and you leave very peaceful. You come into me depressed and you feel a little bit more elevated. But
Which is
Reiki, in and of itself, is an ancient Japanese deep healing relaxation technique and system that is all about centering the inner, the mind, body, and spirit.
And so that's really relevant to our audience because a lot of our audience does, or either they themselves are struggling with anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, addictions, or they have a loved one, or in some cases, colleagues, people that they care about that they want to help. And so this is sounds like a really non-invasive way to help people cope with some of the symptoms of those disorders.
Yes.
Um, Now, what would you say? I mean, give us an idea when a client enters your treatment room, right? Because it's not like going. This is very different than going to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, right? And I always recommend that our viewers continue to see their doctors.
Absolutely.
Right. I
Absolutely.
mean, use these
I
different
only
modalities.
enhance what your doctor is helping you with. I can't cure you. I can only aid in your healing.
I love
I'm
that.
not telling you ever to not see your doctor. I'm not telling you to get off your meds. I enhance your healing.
And so when someone enters your treatment room, because it's not an office set up like a psychiatrist's office, what can they expect? What is the what's the procedure, or what are they going to encounter?
That sounds very clinical. I'm
Yeah.
not clinical. It's much more of what, like walking into a yoga meets massage room.
Okay.
So it's more zen, more peaceful. It gets you into a more relaxed state when you come in, and you leave more relaxed than when you walk in.
Okay.
So, depending on if you need to be seated in a chair or on the table, then again, it's all about relaxation and getting your body to regulate its breathing almost like you're in a meditative state, because most times you will get to a meditative state, and walking you through the process of being in that meditative space. And then I just let the energies flow through me. And it's definitely an energy exchange. However, I don't take on your energy, and I don't force my energy on you. It's about clearing out what's ever there that's hindering your growth, whether it be mental, physical, or emotional.
Okay. And so I've heard a little bit about Reiki, and that that there may be some relationship with the chakra system, which some people are not so familiar with. I mean, do you subscribe to that? And if you do, how does that work?
Yes. However, in traditional, I'm an Asui Tibetan Reiki master teacher. So the way I was taught was more in the traditional meets the West meets East way, but leans more towards the East. When Since it is a Japanese by nature technique, they three diamonds, the mind, body, spirit. That's what we are most familiar with. However, there are the seven chakras that are also incorporated and can be cleaned out. So while I am an Usui Tibetan master, I also incorporate clearing out the chakras and other healing techniques. I have advanced healing techniques. I work with crystals, I work with oils, I incorporate all of them. But my primary teaching has been the three diamonds, which is the mind, body, and spirit. And when you get to the seven chakras, that is more of a Hindu versus
Oh, I see.
um that's more Hindu, that's more Buddhist.
I see.
And they complement each other very nicely.
Sure.
And when I was learning to do Reiki, yes, we incorporated the chakras. So I do work with the chakras. I was trained that the way Reiki works and the way I incorporate Reiki is we have the basic, normal training. This is the way it is. And then it can be built upon without we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak.
Sure.
So we hold tradition, but we can also see, oh, that would work or that might work. And what I love about my teacher is she taught us to do the traditional, but be open to other methods.
Great. That's
And
great.
she is by training a registered nurse.
Oh,
So she
yeah.
started off as a New York State registered nurse and became a Reiki master teacher. So she can also see the medical and then the West and East.
I see. That's really a whole way of evaluating someone. So I think that's really great. And I know that, and my viewers may not know, but hospitals now across the United States, a few hospitals are starting to incorporate Reiki into their palliative care, into
Cancer
pain
patients.
care. Yes, pain. Yep, for
Well,
pain.
there's pain, and then
Hmm.
there's the chemo,
Yes,
and which can relate to pain, but is a special kind of pain all its own, I believe.
yes.
Um, and then just helping them cope with getting through treatment and with pain, because it does help with pain a lot.
Hmm.
And just the mental preparation of preparing for whatever you need to do, treatment or wise, or mentally saying, okay, that happened, it's done. I need to get through my day and not let it, because it can be very stressful. It can be very, I don't want to use the word traumatizing, but it can be very stressful, and it can be very anxiety inducing and depression inducing. And
Sure.
hospitals are now seeing the benefit. There's like Northwell has special centers in
Right.
certain hospitals that have Reiki clinics, that have Reiki rooms.
And Northwell Health has also on Long Island incorporated Reiki into their mental health program as well. They have a mental health program. Reiki is a part of it. Doctors in the West, in our part of the world, have been looking for ways to help people that are actually in pain, are in mental pain, but also physical pain, like you mentioned, and in palliative care. Uh, to reduce pain. And Reiki has proven to be helpful on a clinical level at this point. So it is being embraced, and I'm so excited to see that. And it must be so exciting for you, who was practicing before, traditional medicine was beginning to embrace this
Right.
side of things. So
There
that's
are
cool.
hospitals, like there's entire systems in northeastern PA where they advertise that they have this. They have Reiki, they have massage therapy, and they incorporate it, especially in the women's health area, breast cancer, postpartum,
Yeah,
pre and post delivery, overall well being. And some people don't want to be in medicine. So what do they do? What do they do? And they've
right.
been drawn to Reiki because of the pain. They
And
be
for the viewers, tell us the difference, because there is a difference. But tell us the difference between massage and Reiki, which is what you offer, because there are differences, but a lot of our viewers maybe are not familiar with that.
I did have a client who wanted a Reiki massage, and they thought it was like Reiki can be done hands on, hands off. So I can just be in your energy field and never touch you. And I always ask permission beforehand if that is, it's say, if I'm called to touch you, is that okay? And if they say no, then it's no. I'm respectful, obviously, and
Right.
I just work in the energy. Massage is touch. Massage relaxes you, it relaxes your muscles, it eases away all that muscular tension, and you feel like, oh, that's great. I love massage. But Reiki is more energetic. You can come in feeling really, really low and walk out feeling really, really energized. You can walk in and feel like, just, and walk in like, that helped me. And then you can walk in like with pent up, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go, and walk out at ease. And I may or may not have ever touched any part of your body. And it's more focusing on the alignment, where a massage is like, if you get that, that is wonderful.
Sure.
But that is one of those things where it usually happens, but it doesn't always happen. Where with Reiki, it will usually happen is you get into that nice, quiet, meditative state, and that's where you want to be. Where massage is you're going in there, my neck hurts, my back hurts. Can you work on my legs? Um, I'm not getting that request. Um, and you wouldn't want me to give you a massage because I'm not a licensed massage therapist.
Right. Right. So there's a massage therapy table, it's clothes on, you're dealing in the energy,
Yes.
and people experience all different types of things under the Reiki treatment. So, I mean, I'd like you to talk a little bit about how you got here. What started you out on your journey, and made you want to embrace Reiki as a lifestyle for yourself, and then bring it to others.
Well, a lot of it had to do with I was working on developing my intuitive and medium skills, my mediumship skills and intuitive skills. And every time I would go to class and I would give my teacher a hug hello or a hug goodbye, usually a hug goodbye. Um, she is also an energy worker. She doesn't do Reiki, but she does work in energy. And I went to her for a treatment, and we had a discussion, and that's how we started going to her classes for intuitiveness and mediumship. And she was like, "Your hands are," and at the time they weren't to me. Just for the record, my hands were not hot to me. I'm like, I have no
Right.
idea what you're talking about. It makes no sense to me. So I would give her a hug and it's like, your hands are on fire. Do something. You need to start putting your hands on people. You need to start healing people. And I'm looking at her like, I'm here to learn what's going on in my brain, decipher messages, and deliver them correctly.
Mhm.
That I did learn. That I still, it's what I do. And that's what I was there to learn. But she kept on bringing it up. And at the time, I was in a very abusive relationship. I was in a very tumultuous marriage, and I was just finding it's like, okay, I was like, I need to help other people. I wasn't really, I guess, worried about myself, and it showed because the universe kicked me in the butt later. Um, but I finally was like, she had told me after about 6 months of telling me this, I have a rule of three. So if it comes up three times, then I need to do something about it. I need to pay attention to it. And this came by way of fellow classmates. So one of my classmates brought up this one woman's name, Lorraine. She's a Reiki master teacher. I was like, okay, okay, this person maybe the Reiki, I'll look at it, see what it is. And then Lorraine's name came up two other times. The third time
Hmm.
it was like, oh, I'm going to give you Lorraine's number and this, that, and the other. I'm like, I'm going to need that number too because this person's come up three times, obviously. And when I called her and it was kind of like referrals are the best clients because then you know that the person is open at least to receiving Reiki or
Sure.
receiving messages or what you know that they're open. I like for my counselor, my son's counselor, therapist, it was a referral. I prefer referrals because it's like you trust this person and I trust you. So it's not like well, even with vets, I prefer to get a referral for my own pet. So I was going to use a vet as an example, but I'm big on it's like I trust you and you trust that person, and I'll go. So I went I went for my first Reiki session before my first class because I'd never been to one, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. That resonates with me because what Pat did for me resonated with me, but it didn't resonate as something I should be doing for others. Whereas when I had my first Reiki session, it was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing to help others. And when I started taking classes, that very first class, and we circle back to what my teacher said, my very first teacher said, your hands are hot. My hands caught on fire. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, so then that it just built on. And it takes depending on your training, in traditional training, it can take a year or longer to become a certified master teacher. It took me almost 2 years, um,
Wow.
and it's been worth it. And it's a never stop learning. We all follow each other. We share each other information that we find with each other. And also, I like to follow Franz Stein, who was one of my Reiki Masters teachers. And when he comes to town next time he's in the city, I will be going. Right now, I just follow him on Facebook and read his books, and he's wonderful. He was taught the Western way of doing Reiki, which was very I don't want to say extremely different, but it was pretty different than the Eastern way. And so when he
Hmm.
went and learned the Eastern way, he's really kind of like the father of melding the two. Whereas
Understand.
William Rand, most people know William Rand, and he's really the kind of like the father of the Western Reiki. And so when people say, "Oh, I became a Reiki master teacher in a weekend," I kind of back away, but that's because of my personal training.
Yeah, I
Um,
get that.
it's kind of like I learned how to cut hair in a weekend. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna stick with my dresser.
Yeah, I get that. I get that there's so much I would imagine there's so much involved that you know, that it would take some time to embrace, um, manipulating someone's energy or just even learning how to be a conduit, right? Is that
Right, well, you gotta learn to work on yourself first.
right?
And then, yeah, you learn how to work on other people, but then in the next course, you really learn how to work with other people. Now it's like, okay, now I've done myself, now I can share it with others. And then it's the next certification is to be a certified Reiki master teacher. And then you make your or certified Reiki practitioner. Then you make that decision. I have lots of friends that are certified practitioners, but not teachers.
Right,
So that just that extra mile means I can teach others Reiki. I can
right.
teach them system of Reiki. I've had people approach me and say, "Oh, can you do this for the weekend?" And it's like it doesn't work that way for me. If you want me to certify people for you, it's going to take at least 2 years,
I
maybe
see.
18 months. And they're kind of like they'll go find someone else, and that's fine. That's fine. But if you come to me, if I'm ever called to teach, it's going to take 18 months to 2 years at minimum.
And is that because you're spacing out? I am Reiki certified also, but not a master teacher. And I took a lot of time between. It was a couple of classes, but I took a lot of time between what they call Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. So Reiki 1 is what you were talking about, where you learn to just do it on yourself. And I feel like I spent a really long time on that before I took a follow-up course to learn how to do that, to do it with other people. And I don't really practice. I practice Reiki on myself and like maybe my loved ones or whatever, but I don't offer it. It's not something that I offer to the public. So I'm interested to know, is that what you mean by like 18 months to 2 years, that there has to that you feel like there should be a
The
large
way it
space?
was the way it was spaced out for my courses, and I took everything with one teacher and the same students,
Yes.
and like your same cohort. It's like going into nursing school, get to know these 20 people because for the next 4 years you're going
Right.
to be with these 20 people,
Okay.
and it's the first course, and then you had to wait 3 to 6 months before you were even allowed to take Reiki 2. Then you had to
Yes.
wait 3 to 6 months before you could take Reiki 3, which is certification. And she waited 3 months before we could take Reiki Master Teacher. Then we did Karuna, and
Oh.
so it was a lot.
So there are different. I didn't even think to cover that, but I've heard of Karuna Reiki, but I don't know much about it. There are different types of Reiki. So why don't you tell our audience about that?
Again, I'm a traditionalist. There's lots of other Reiki. There's Rainbow Reiki. There is Holy Fire Reiki. I think there's Holy Fire Karuna. I do traditional Karuna. Karuna is a lot of shadow work, and it's
Mm,
usually more self-based. So you're really guiding someone through their shadow work. But you gotta, as one of my fellow students said, put on your big girl pants and be ready to do it because it's a lot of work. And again, there's at least that one you have to have at least a month in between Karuna 1 and Karuna 2. And Karuna 2 is when you could be a certified master teacher. Whereas the way I was taught Reiki to become a practitioner and a teacher, there was that little bit of time where we had three and then 3A and 3B.
right. And so when it comes to shadow work, right?
Yeah.
Maybe to the layperson, describe what is shadow work. Is that inner child work? Is it a combination of
Everyone, that's been coming up a lot lately, the inner child work. It's not necessarily childhood or child work. It's
okay.
healing deep psychological wounds, whether that's childhood, adolescent, as an adult.
Hmm.
They are deep. It's deep psychological emotional work. It's kind of like, well, why is this bothering me? And you get pissed off, excuse my language, when someone points out, well, I think it's this, and you want nothing to do with that. And you know why you don't want anything to do with it? Because they struck the right nerve.
Right. Okay, so your triggers, shadow work has to do with your real life triggers actually
Yeah.
in your daily life. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. I feel like we covered a lot when it comes to Reiki, so far. Um, I do know that, oh, I did tell my viewers too that we would be drawing for a free reading today. um, with me, I have a free reading, so we will do that at the end. But people, what kind of hours do you keep up? When are you available to speak with people or give
Everything
treatments?
and everything is on the website. I do in
Hmm.
person, do distance. So it's like if you're I have clients in Colorado, I have clients in Georgia, I have clients upstate. So those hours are available on the website. I do in-person hours, usually after office, after like normal 9 to 5 hours for people. I do offer Saturdays. So it's just going onto the website, thequiethealer.com, going on book a session or find out more information, and they can select the day and time that works for them. If they've got any questions or want to know more about how I work, they can send in an inquiry and I can work with them back and forth. And when they're ready, book the session. I'm also doing a self care program that will be launching in May, and that will also be available. All the information will be on the website.
And the website is scrolling underneath us right now for those of you who want to jot it down quickly. It's thequiethealer.com. That's how you can get in touch with Janice. I know also that you have a referral program because I've been to you. I've had a treatment with you. And so tell us about your referral program because I thought that was different and kind of cool, actually.
So if you come to me and after our session, you refer 3 people to me. I'm sorry, 4 people to me, you earn a free session.
That's great. That's great for, because Reiki it'll work in one session, but to have multiple sessions is really a great way to get yourself grounded and balanced, right?
And every session is different, just like every reading is different. So you go to 4 different mediums and maybe they all tell you very similar things, but the reading and experience is very different.
Right.
So, oh, I've had Reiki. I know what that experience is like. You've had Reiki with so and so. You haven't had Reiki with me. And what you felt with so and so may be different with me.
Yes.
I've had clients where they're, oh, Reiki doesn't work for me. And I was just starting out. I was like, well, I need to practice. So can you at least be a guinea pig?
Right.
And they had an experience. They were like,
Sure.
oh, wow. They felt something. It was like my hands got really hot. I had somebody ask me, do you have hot rocks? You saw me put up a table. I came with a table. That was it. And so every experience is like when I go to fellow mediums, I'm very intuitive and very guided and I follow my own guidance, but I go
Sure.
to fellow mediums for readings
Yes.
and
Yes, agree.
experience is different. And I go to fellow Reiki masters and I'm like, I have a friend, I'm like, Evelyn, I need a session and we work it out and we work on each other. And, when it comes to Reiki, for me, it's kind of like going to the doctor or going to a mechanic. I like to go to the people I trust. I am a big believer in if you are coming to me and trusting me with your energy, that you will leave in a better state than when you came. And that is my intention and my only goal.
That's great. That's a great way to live, really. Is just to try to send people out better than they came, right? And some of the more common, I do know that some of the more common experiences that people have when they are having the experience of Reiki is temperature changes. They might see colors. They could have memories. Sometimes a loved one who's passed will come in, or they feel more than just the hands that are on them. If you happen to be touching them, they might feel another set of hands. Like there's some pretty wild experiences, but nothing, nothing really, nothing scary, or even the temperature change. It doesn't get so hot that you're uncomfortable. It's just noticeable.
Yeah.
So I want our viewers to realize that too. It's a very non-invasive way to relax yourself and bring yourself into balance, and kind of get your energy together. And
It
so,
recenters you for sure.
yeah. And so I think that's probably, some of the most important. This is important work, that you're doing, and I'm so happy that it's becoming more mainstream now, that people are getting to know a
Yeah.
little bit more about
Yeah,
this.
people are usually it was like, "Oh, I want a reading." And it's like, and as someone who's been a sitter, and before it's like I was having all these experiences and I was all out of whack, and it was like before I knew what was really going on with me and that really should be taking classes, I would always want my dad to come through. And I was like that frenetic, I just want my daddy. I just want my daddy. And he would never come through. And it
Oh,
was because I was like demanding. So, like, if someone comes to me and they want a reading, I will usually do Reiki first
oh, interesting.
because I was always taught, and this is like a common thread with the mediums out here on Long Island, is I'm the mailman. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what
Yes.
you need to hear. And because of that, a lot of people are like, I need to hear from Cousin Joe. I need to hear from Cousin Joe right now. I need to know where. And it's like, Cousin Joe may not want to talk to you, but this other person might have something you need to hear. So I've really found that if I get them into a calm state beforehand,
Right.
that messages that they need to hear and receive will come through and be received. They'll be more receptive to it.
Yeah,
And
that's
when
great.
people come in and they're anxious or they're kind of upset about a situation, and they like they'll they'll come out of the meditative state and it's like, I okay, now I kind of understand what I need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that. And for those of you who, who maybe are missing it a little bit, I didn't mention it earlier, but Janice is also an intuitive medium. So she does get messages from loved ones who are on the other side, who have passed, and passes those on. And she does, if it comes up during a Reiki session, that's something that she'll discuss with you, after the session has ended.
Yes. But it's Reiki is all about it's a personal journey, and it's all about your journey, and it does help heal and quiet the mind, body, and spirit. Gets those into alignment. That way your body can do what it needs to heal. It aids in your healing. So
Yes.
if you have a broken arm, it's going to help speed up that recovery. If you're prepping for surgery, it's going to help you be ready for surgery. When you come out of surgery, it's going to help you recover faster. If you have chemo, it's going to help you to receive what you need and disregard what you don't.
So the energy goes where it's needed in the body, and this is why they have found it effective. Like, clinicians have found it effective in helping, with pain management, as
Yes.
well as the psychological effects, because your body will take the energy into wherever it needs. Is that correct? Am I saying that correctly? All
Absolutely.
right. I mean, it's always great to talk to you, Janice. I'm so happy to have had you on, and just for the audience again, Janice Tverberg, Reiki Master Teacher, host of Unique Peace. You can catch her on Spotify and Apple podcasting, and thequiethealer.com for mediumship and Reiki sessions. So quite quite a lot that she's offering, right now in different realms. And so I can't wait to see, where things go from here. Always happy to have you on, and I think I'm just gonna take it from there. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. I
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Janice. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, really interesting information. I just wanted, before we end our podcast, I just wanted to do the quick drawing that we said that we were going to have for a 45-minute reading. I also am a medium. So I'm going to be drawing, you know, for that free reading, and that's an oracle card mediumship reading. And our winner is Anna Baronoff Spatafora. So congratulations, Anna. I will get in touch with you on Facebook, and we will make arrangements to see what the best time to get together is. But I'm excited for you. Thank you, everyone who participated, and I'll see you next time on The Wounded Healer with Carrie Ann.